Hey guys, happy Wednesday. I hope you are doing awesome and this warm weather is treating you well and you're getting outside, going for walks, but still keeping safe distances. Today we're going to be continuing talking about the story we talked about this weekend, but today you'll see in a moment I have a special guest, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So I hope you tuned in this weekend, but if not, I will tell you what our story is just in the quick page version, all right? So our story today is from the book of Acts, chapter 1, verses 3 to 10, where we see Jesus before he ascends to heaven. And in this story, he is telling his disciples and all of us what we are supposed to do. He is telling us to go out into the world and make disciples. He's telling us to go to Judea, Samaria, and all over the world and make disciples and tell about him. We're going to talk about that a little more, but I'm going to get our special guest over here to come anyway. But you got to use your detective skills. It's not a mystery if we don't use our detective skills. So I'm going to give you a few clues and I'm going to give you a few moments to figure out who it is, all right? So clue number 1, he works at the neighborhood church. Thinking? Do we have anything yet? All right. Number 2, he helps with worship. All right. Do you have it yet? Number 3, he is the youth pastor at the neighborhood church. Have you figured it out? All right. If you haven't figured it out, let's find out together. Okay. Are you ready? Awesome. So if you guessed Pastor Ethan, you are correct. Pastor Ethan is here with us today.
Yay.
So, Pastor Ethan, like I said in our clues, he is our youth pastor. He helps out with worship and he works at the neighborhood church. So, I am super excited to have him today and I think he's excited to be here.
You bet I am.
So, Ethan, we've been talking about Jesus, obviously, and we just finished up our Easter story and we are talking about Jesus giving us his big commandment. Do you know what the big commandment is?
No.
Ethan has not been watching the videos, you guys. So we are talking about in Acts when, right before Jesus ascends back into heaven, when he says, go forth and make disciples.
Mm-hmm.
And go on to all the earth and talk to people about Jesus, right?
Oh yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, I probably should have gave you a heads up, but you know. I thought maybe you would have watched the videos.
Well, I've been watching them all, definitely.
All right, so I have a few questions for Pastor Ethan, and we'll just go right into it. So, Pastor Ethan, when was the first time you heard about Jesus?
Well, I was born into a Christian home, and not just a normal Christian home, a weird Christian home, because my dad was a pastor. So I heard about Jesus since like age 0.
And I guess that's like the thing for a lot of people, for quite a few of you. So that's why I really wanted Pastor Ethan, because I heard about Jesus later in life, and I thought it's really important for you guys to know that it's okay if you've known about Jesus since you were born. But we have a few more questions for Pastor Ethan, and maybe it'll help you out. So, Pastor Ethan, when did you first accept Jesus into your life?
So the first time I accepted Jesus, my sister convinced me to, and I thought her arguments were quite reasonable. So I was at the age of 4, sitting in my living room on the couch with my sister, and she was like, you need to accept Jesus. And I was like, I agree. And so she was like, well, guess what? That's all you have to do. And so we said what we used to call the sinner's prayer back then. And I accepted Jesus when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, but it kind of took some time for it to actually become something that meant more to me. So as I got older, I started to understand more why I believed what I did. And I started to embrace it as more of part of my life and not just something that my sister told me to do and not just something that my parents believed. And God really spoke to me personally, and it became something that was real to me and changed the rest of my life. And so ever since then, I've really lived a life that I've tried to honor God, I've tried to love others, and tried to follow God's will for my life since then.
Awesome. So if you heard about Jesus when you were little and you've known about Jesus and accepted Jesus your whole life, it doesn't mean anything bad. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone or worse than anyone. It's still awesome, because I bet you if Pastor Ethan didn't hear about Jesus when he was little or accept Jesus, he wouldn't be where he is today. Right, Ethan?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Ethan, I have a question for you. You ready?
Mhm.
What is the easiest way for you to share the good news of Jesus with others?
The easiest way for me to share the good news with people is when I really know somebody and they're important to me, because Jesus has shown me the value of people in life. So if I really know someone and I'm just like being involved in their lives and like encouraging them, being part of their day-to-day lives and stuff, and to just share the love of Christ through actions and through being there, supporting people, and sort of being the person that Christ has been to me, to other people, because God has always been there for me. Jesus has always been there for me. And he's never left me during hard times or struggles or anything. And so I want to be that for other people, because not everybody gets to experience that in the same way. So we can each help each other experience who God is just by being like he has been to us. So that's the easiest way for me to share the good news of Jesus. There you go. I share it through relationship and through acting it out as much as I can.
So, does that mean we don't have to like just go up to every stranger and be like, accept Jesus?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think that probably works a lot less than some people might accept.
And for some people it works, and that's okay, but it's kind of, I'm like Ethan. I like to have a relationship and slowly build into it versus seeming like I'm forcing people into following Jesus, because sometimes when you're forced, it doesn't really work out in the end.
Yeah.
Because you gotta, like what Ethan was saying, he accepted when he was 4 years old, but it took him some time to really put it into his own life and his own way. And people need to be able to bring Jesus into their lives, and just by choice, not by force.
Yeah.
Ethan, I really hope you watch this weekend's video.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm gonna ask you some questions about the video, about the story, and hopefully you get them.
Sounds good.
They're more personal questions though, so like you can swing it.
Okay. All right.
So we were talking about in our story this weekend how we are supposed to go out and make disciples and share the good news of Jesus and do something called being a witness for Jesus. Ethan, were you alive at the same time as Jesus?
Yes. No, I was not. I'm not that old. Not yet.
All right, so when, because the disciples were eyewitnesses. And it's a lot easier to be an eyewitness for Jesus when you lived at the time. Ethan, what does being a witness for Jesus mean for you today?
Being a witness for me today means that I've experienced Jesus in my own life. And so I know that I can bear witness or tell the story of how Jesus has been to me, and I can read in my Bible the story of Jesus. So to me, it means to be able to share from my personal relationship and from what I learned in the Bible.
Easy. So we didn't have to live like 2,000 years ago to be able to share Jesus. We're able to do it today because Jesus is still active in our lives every day. Right, Ethan?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Pastor Ethan, where should we be a witness for Jesus?
Only ever at church. Just kidding. You can be a witness for Jesus anywhere, and it doesn't have to just be in places that you usually talk about Jesus. You can be a witness for Jesus when you're at school, or you can be a witness for Jesus when you're at home. You can be a witness for Jesus with your siblings, believe it or not. You can be a witness for Jesus no matter where you go. And actually, Jesus says to be a witness everywhere you go.
Awesome. Good answer, Ethan. I was really scared you were sticking with only a church. All right, so with everything going on with COVID right now, my next question for you, Ethan, is how could they be a witness for Jesus this week?
Well, something that I think is a really cool way to be a witness for Jesus is actually in your own home. You can be a witness for Jesus still. Just because you're not going out to school and just because you're not, in church to have kids' church together doesn't mean that you can't still do the things that Jesus wants you to do. Because Jesus wants us to serve each other. He wants us to love each other. He wants us to show the example of his love to each other. And you can do that in your home. It just looks a little different. And sometimes it can be a little bit hard because you have siblings or you have parents or guardians that are, always there in your space. But something you can do is just serve the people in your household. Do something nice for someone who you live with and give some special care to somebody in a special way while you're at home.
See, you don't have to be out and about. You don't need to be doing crazy things. You can show the love of Jesus and witness to people in your own homes. Because really, witnessing is just showing people what Jesus did and how awesome he is. And we can do that ourselves.
Yeah.
By living as an example, right?
Yeah.
Ethan, it was awesome having you. Is there anything else you want to say to the kids before you sign off?
Yeah, brush your teeth at least once a day.
That's actually a very good tip. Good job. All right. Thank you for joining us today, Pastor Ethan. I hope you're doing well. And
yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. All right. Bye, Ethan.
Bye.
So it was awesome having Pastor Ethan with us today. I hope he's taught you something, because one of the things that, can be hard is knowing how to witness, how to share the good news of Jesus. Does it matter if you've been a Christian your whole life? Does it matter when you hear Jesus or hear about Jesus? Because really it doesn't. What matters is that you are sharing his good news, and it is so simple. It is not that hard, because we always get so scared. It's like, well, I don't want to make people follow Jesus. I don't want to force anybody, because it's so true. Sometimes we think we have to make them, but really, we just need to show them what God's love is like and share with them what Jesus does for us every day. It does not have to be complicated. It does not have to be going out into the streets and yelling, "You must accept Jesus." It's just showing love to those around you. And it's so important to know, and it's so important to remember, because that's why we're here. We're here to make disciples for Jesus. We're here to show people what Jesus has done and show them the love of Christ, right? Awesome. Jesus is so willing and happy to serve me and help me out whenever I need, and he's always here for me, that it's so easy to do that for other people, because that's what Jesus does for me, and we're supposed to be like Jesus. So this week, I'm giving you a little challenge, just a small one. Show the love of Jesus in your homes, to your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, whoever it is who's in your house, your siblings. Show them the love of Christ, which is just being loving and being patient and being kind and showing them love. Like Ethan was saying, he was telling us that it doesn't have to be huge or big. It can just be loving someone and being there. So just remember that this week, because I really would like to see how you guys are sharing the love of Christ this week. Anyway, we have a memory verse this week. Are you ready? We have another one. Bailey helped me with the actions, so shout out to Bailey, because I'm not going to lie, you guys, I'm pretty weak at making actions, but Bailey is awesome at it. So, I'm really happy I have her in my life. God has blessed me with her. So she's helped me with the actions. So, don't think I did it, because I didn't. Bailey did. She helped me out, and it was so helpful. So let's learn our memory verse. I will read it, then I'll do the actions, and then we'll go through it slowly. Sound good? So our memory verse this week is, are you ready? It's from Matthew 28, verse 19. Are you ready? Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Matthew 28:19. Easy? All right, let's do it one more time together. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Matthew 28:19. All right, you guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. I love you and I miss you. And let me see you working on those memory verses. Sound good? All right, have a fantastic week, guys. Enjoy the warm weather. I love you. I miss you. Goodbye.